Hello everyone, my name is Walid Amimoni and today I'm going to be presenting my environmental issue brief topic and presenting it. Desertification in Syria. So before I get into that, I'm going to be discussing what is desertification. So desertification is a process where fertile land turns into desert due to water shortages and droughts. Unfortunately, due to climate change and the rising global temperature, desertification is being felt all around the world, including places like Africa and the Middle East. This is very bad because farmers are unable to grow or harvest crops or even allow their animals to graze the fields because the land literally turns into desert and is virtually unusable. So I chose to talk about Syria because Syria has been in the news ever since 2011 when the war broke out, and we've all witnessed the horrors and the unfortunate events that unfolded in the country. However, prior to the war, there's been an issue that Syria has been battling, which is desertification. But before I get into that, I'm going to be discussing some background information about the country. So Syria is a country located in the Middle East that shares borders with Lebanon in the southwest, Turkey in the north, Iraq in the east, Jordan in the south, Israel in the southwest, and the Mediterranean in the west. Syria is mostly a desert with many mountainous regions, such as Mount Hermon here on the very right, which borders Lebanon and has a height of around 9,000 feet. Syria's economy is agriculturally dependent and relies heavily on water sources and fertile lands. The agricultural sector accounts for 26% of the entire country's GDP, which is a big portion. So, some issues regarding desertification. The region in which Syria is located and has significantly felt the effects of desertification. The Mediterranean Sea has experienced droughts as early as 1902, way before Syria was founded and created. Climate change was exacerbated. The climate change has exacerbated the effects of droughts, which in turn impact desertification. This has led to Syria's worst drought in its history. There are many causes and effects. The first cause is climate change. Climate change has led to temperature increase and drier lands. It is predicted that between the years 2070 and 2099, the annual temperature is expected to increase by 4 degrees Celsius. Another cause is drop of precipitation in the region. So Syria has had the worst decrease of precipitation in the region between the years 2007 and 2008, where levels of precipitation dropped by 50% in some regions. This diminishes the vital water sources. This diminishes vital water resources such as the Kabul River, which supplies Damascus, the capital of Syria, with its water. Another cause is outdated infrastructure that is unable to provide water distribution and filtration systems. This has obviously led to the 5.5 million Syrians lacking sufficient access to clean water. The Notre Dame Global Initiative ranked Syria 139th in the world in terms of its ability to respond to climate change and maintain its food and water systems. Some former policies, the most recent and most up-to-date policies that I found were between 1999 and 2001. I was not able to find any newer policies or more current ones. The first one being conservation of water resources policy, cost recovery in public irrigation schemes, and modernization. These were all between 1999 and 2001. I was unable to find newer ones because the government, after the outbreak of the war, was unable to allocate funds and put everything it had into funding and ending the war, and ending it essentially, and beating the rebels and other parties involved. So Syria, before it can act on this issue, it must realize the importance of this issue in order to counter the effects of desertification in Syria. The allocation of funds and resources was halted due to the outbreak of war, and everything was put on quelling the uprising, as I mentioned earlier. This led to a lack of management solutions and the response capacity regarding environmental issues, to the point where revenue was 83% lower than its pre-war budget of 2010. And that led to Iran donating between $30 to $100 billion to the Syrian government. Researchers at the Atomic Energy Commission have recommended many policies and proposed many solutions, one of them being lysimeter measurements and the other being nuclear techniques. Both of these techniques are essentially techniques to salvage and reuse wasted water. The results show that roughly 10 to 20% of water can be saved and used to enhance water productivity. And in areas such as the northeastern part of Syria, this is very vital because many people there are suffering from desertification and severe droughts. There are a couple of weaknesses in my research. First one being obviously outdated water conservation policies. I was unable to find more current and more new water policies because the government is literally focusing and putting everything it has on ending the war, and to the point where they allied with countries such as Russia. This obviously led to a lack of data to work with. I was unable to find, I searched for many, I did extensive research and I was unable to find more current and more usable information. And this obviously led to limitations being very hard to identify. I was able to identify some in my paper. And other possible avenues, at this point, there aren't any other possible avenues. However, after a post-war Syria and a post-COVID Syria, there could be many possible avenues. And after obviously the reconstruction, after Syria is being rebuilt, after Syria is rebuilt, there could be other possible avenues of research. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.